Warning. Josh is not an expert in any of the crap he talks about. He simply uses his head and does a lot of research so you, the audience, don't have to. Keep in mind, he doesn't know everything, so take the shit he says with a grain of salt. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this episode, first I'd like to proudly announce that this video is sponsored by none other than Kind Connection, the best smoke shop in all of Mojave County. And I'm going to let the owner of it take it away.
Thank you, everybody. This podcast has been amazing and will be amazing, and you'll see it. But we're also doing a contest. That's the whole thing of this. So we're going to do a contest with Linda Biggs. Linda Biggs actually makes water pipes, sketches, coloring books, all that kind of stuff. And we're doing a big old giveaway. So you come into the Kind Connection, take a photo with our Linda Biggs cutout, and hashtag Linda Biggs, the Kind Connection. And the most likes on that photo on Instagram will win the big prize. You got a water pipe, you got coloring books, you got trays, you got all kinds of stuff that she has donated to us. So again, make sure you come on down. It's for a contest, and September 30th, and we'll announce the winner on November 2nd. Be kind.
What's going on, people? This is Josh from Josh Said What, the podcast that'll change the world. And I got a very special guest, the one and only owner of Kind Connection, Jason Thomson. How you doing, man?
Good. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on. How do you like it? That's your first time being on a podcast, right?
This is. It's a little bit different. We're doing right from the shop and everything. Your setup's pretty cool.
Yeah, just nothing but trial and error of getting this together. And it's a great view in the shop, too.
Exactly. And then on top of that, everybody gets to see that you start this, and they can start looking up. And so everybody gets to see how many customers we get.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So give us a little breakdown. What originally started Kind Connection?
My dad started it up in Bullhead. Him and my mom. That was close to 30 years ago.
Wow.
And my dad and his partner were playing pool one time and all that stuff. And the original owner actually lost 40 games to 1. Broke a couple of phones from what I heard, a couple of cue sticks. These cue sticks were like $400 a piece.
Oh my God.
And he just broke them. But the crazy thing is I still actually have the pool table that they won on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I ended up buying my house, he threw in the pool table and all that stuff for me.
Hey, so, there you go.
I was like, that's cool. But yeah, they were on the golf course. My dad was in real estate and everything else. The other guy was in real estate. He owned the Kind Connection up in Bullhead, and they played 40 to 1. Ended up $40,000 in debt. Yeah, they were playing for big bucks. They were playing for like $10,000 games.
Oh my God.
So he's like, I don't have the money to pay you. So he was like, yeah. He's like, how about having half stake in the Kind Connection in Bullhead? And he was like, all right, let's try it. Yeah. And so he started working up there 4 days a week, and it's just started going up from there. They ended up opening a store in Yuma, Flagstaff, and then my mom. And then when he knew he was passing away, and he knew he was dying about 6 months before I came out here to help take care of him. Mm-hmm. He had his leg amputated.
Oh no.
Yeah. And he wanted something for my mom. And so he shut the Flagstaff store down and moved everything down to here to Havasu. That was when the economy was barely striving. It was back in 2010.
Wow.
And they were letting any business into town. There was no questions. So, because the economy was hurting at the time.
Yeah.
So the city wanted to do anything and everything. So he was like, I was up in Colorado at the time, and he's like, come down. He's like, I got a place for you. So I came down here, learned everything I could learn and all that stuff in the 6 months, plus took care of him. Mm-hmm. And then when he passed away, my mom wanted to start a clothing store. So she did that for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
She sold the Yuma store and then used the money to start a clothing store. And then she wanted to retire. So I was like, all right, retire. I'll take care of everything.
Yeah, there you go.
So 2012, I just started doing it all.
Damn. Okay.
Started learning and all that stuff. It was trial and error, just like you.
Yeah.
So, a lot of friends, a lot of vendors, and you got to know a lot of the people because when you own a smoke shop, you really find out who your friends are really quick.
Yeah, exactly. You see the ones who really are there to be your friends or who are just out to get you. No.
I know. Even my kid, when she was in high school, she knew it was coming, and she was just counting the time down to when all of her friends say, "Hey, can you get me this? Hey, your dad owns a smoke shop. Hey."
Yeah.
And she's
of
like,
course.
"No, no."
Yeah, of course, exactly. You get those people that try to like mooch a little bit by bit, or like you
Yeah.
got it's like how you got the older friend that could buy you alcohol and weed, and you're like, hey, buddy, can you give me that? Can you give me that? Or the guy that
Exactly.
always has the ride, and it's like, come on, I'm worth more than that.
Yep. But now my daughter always stood her ground. She always said no. And now that she's working here and all that stuff, she knows all those people that come in that are underage. It's really funny to watch her say, they walk in, they see her, and they turn around and immediately walk out.
That's awesome. They're like,
'Cause
nope,
they
we know we
know.
ain't getting away with shit.
Well, I really don't think that the federal government should have changed it from 18 to 21. I think that's. I went to bat with the FDA 4 meetings, and then they decided that they wanted me to slap 21 on my doors. So
Man.
I had to do that, and they slapped 21 on my doors. And a couple days later, they actually showed up. I never thought they'd show up. The FDA actually showed up at my door to make sure I did what I said I was going to do.
Wow.
Because I had so many meetings with them, and they thought I was going to be selling them people under the age of 21. So,
Damn.
yeah, I was just, I still don't believe in it. I still think if you fight for our country, you should be able to buy this stuff. You should be able to buy cigarettes, alcohol, and all that stuff if you're going to fight for our country, man.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
going to die for our country, then you should be able to do that stuff. Because you know what I found out on base?
What?
On military base up in Washington. If you're 18 to 21, you can actually drink beer on base, just no hard liquor.
Really?
Yes, the
Wow.
government on the bases actually in Washington. That's the only state I know about because my stepson's stationed up there. But yeah, he can drink beer as long as he doesn't drink hard liquor.
See, that's so hypocritical because it's like, so you could give the military personnel that, but like the average citizen, they can't do it at 18. Because I mean, like all across Europe, it's the drinking and the smoking age is 18 minimum.
Yeah, but not federalized apparently.
Wow. It's just so baffling. It's so baffling to see all kind of like I don't want to say double standard to disrespect anybody there because I have the utmost respect for the military guys as well. But at the same time, it's if you're going to allow a pass for them to be able to do it at 18, wouldn't it be fair for the average citizen to be able to?
Do you want to know a secret, Josh?
What?
Our military doesn't agree with it either.
Really?
It's our Senate and our Congress
Wow.
that made these decisions.
That makes sense.
I've talked to generals. They don't agree with it. They think it should still be 18.
Wow.
So that's why the bases the way they are. They're set up. Now, if you get caught off base drinking under the age of 21, yeah, you're busted.
Oh.
You're court-martialed.
Oh no.
So, yeah, they have it strict. I think they did it correctly for the military people.
Mm-hmm.
I really did, because they thought of them, and they thought, well, if our federal government is passing these laws, maybe we can do something to offset it a little bit.
Okay.
So I have that most respect for the military.
That's how I am too. Like I have friends that were former military police officers, and I gotta say the like a lot of attitudes of people nowadays towards like military and police and everything. It's pretty sad because I read all these books and these stories about all of our veterans that have served and everything, and it's like they go through hell and back. They've gone through some tragic stuff. And yeah, you get some people that really don't bat an eye to it. Like Louis Zamperini, for example.
Yes.
I was having an argument with an old friend of mine where they were they were all upset because their payday got pushed off by a day because I think it was Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just dogging on military. They were dogging on veterans the entire time. And I straight up was just telling him, it's like, let me tell you the story of Louis Zamperini, who spent, 3-4 months in the middle of the ocean, literally fighting sharks with his 2 guys, only to get captured by the Japanese during World War II, and then get tortured repeatedly. The Bird, which was a notorious guy, would beat the living shit out of Louis. He had his foot broken. He cracked his ankle, if I remember correctly. He would constantly get beat on the daily, all times of the night, the daytime. And Louis Zamperini, he was a very, very bad germaphobe. He was a really bad clean freak. And the Bird knew that. So he would make Louis sit or crawl around on his hands and knees and pick up all the bile from the livestock and clean it up with his bare hands that way.
That's torture.
Yeah.
That's major torture.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I have the utmost respect for veterans and just the military for the kind of stuff that they go through, because nobody wants to talk about the real horrors of war and what those people can go through. And to disrespect the holiday and to disrespect the veterans, it just doesn't sit well with me.
It doesn't. I took care of my stepdad for literally his last 6 months, and I learned a lot about the VA.
Yeah.
Because he was a veteran, we had to go through the VA for a lot of stuff. I learned there was this one gentleman, his name was Jim. He would go to bat for everybody. He would literally figure things out in the computer system. And I do believe that their computer systems are designed to fail everybody. But I believe that that he could help people and all that stuff. And when they figured that out, that he was helping people in Havasu, they shipped him off. Off to another state, to work at another state, to work somewhere where he didn't know people and all that stuff. And he ended up dying of a heart attack.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, that's really jacked up.
Yeah.
Because you take somebody that is helping everybody, and he didn't want to move. I talked to him. He didn't want to move at all. They were forcing him to move because he was helping people in Havasu. He was getting around the system. He was figuring it out, how to get around the computer system to help people out.
Yeah.
And that's where as you all know, I'm a Trump supporter. And that's where I think Trump has a lot of respect, because when he was in office and everything else, we started changing things around. They started helping people. And, there's a couple of YouTubers that I also watch out there that I was having a conversation with, and they check out abandoned houses, abandoned mansions. Do you know how many abandoned places are in the United States?
I bet there's quite a bit.
Now, how many veterans are on the street right now? Thousands.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands, right? Now, those abandoned houses and everything else that are owned by that BINC, which is Central Banking System. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm a conspiracy theorist, everybody.
Here, if you want to bring the mic a little bit closer.
So what I'm thinking about is, if we take all those abandoned houses and then turn around and open them up for our veterans. Some of these houses are 8-9 bedroom houses. And if we just turn on the electric for them and turn on the water for them, I guarantee you they'll do the rest.
Yeah.
But they would be so happy for that we do something for them to help them out, instead of just having and give them a tent and saying, here you go.
Yeah. That's what breaks my heart, is the fact there's so many veterans that are just kind of left to the streets, and there's no help from the government for them, for all the work they did to serve and fight for us. And then there's exactly that. There's so many opportunities to where we could house the veterans that are on the streets right now, provide some type of sanctuary for them, so they're not just stuck to the streets. And then, of course, when you're on the streets, you end up resorting to drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. And it's so sad. It's so sad. That's why eventually down the road, I do want to start some nonprofits because I want to get into the foster care system because I've had friends and family that's been through it, and it's nothing but horror stories. And then you see so many veterans on the street and then just not being taken care of. I would love to open up some type of nonprofit to where we provide housing, provide opportunity to where they're able to get back up on their feet, get a job, get a steady income, and then start being able to afford their own housing. Even if it's just
Yep.
an apartment and they bunk with other veterans, but still, it'd be so much better than being trapped on the streets.
I know, and there is like those the winners.
Yeah.
So they're projected that they'll spend all their money within 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my friend has found 6 mansions from previous lotto winners through over the years,
Wow.
and they're abandoned, and they're 8 to 9 bedroom mansions. Now, can you imagine if you got 10 of those? That's 90 people. 90 people. And if those rooms are big enough, you can put 2 or 3 people in those rooms.
Yeah.
Well, then there's more power to you. And what does it cost the banks? It doesn't cost them nothing.
Yeah.
It's a tax write-off, actually, if they actually want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So why haven't we even thought about going down that route? Why am I the only one that thought about that? It's just crazy. It's our military, our government doing this to our military.
Yeah.
And it's just completely wrong. They should be helping, not trying to push down. And that is one thing I love about being where I am. I'm in the possibility of helping people, you know. I love building people up.
Yeah.
I hate tearing people down. And that's where I love building my people up at the store here, my employees, because I build them up, I give them chances and everything, because I think everybody should be built up.
Yeah.
Tear down is just, you're going to make somebody feel horrible and all that stuff. But some of these people, they come back.
Mm-hmm.
And they come back even stronger when you tear them down. But they remember you tore them down.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we help one another, if we do that to each other, it's like I think I counted probably about 25 people that I know of in town here that are homeless.
Wow.
And those are my customers.
Wow.
Now how can we help them? You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Interagency's shut down because, unfortunately, the CEO of that embezzled money and he got called out.
Oh my God.
So, you know, it's horrible. It's horrible that he actually did it. But he got arrested, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Mayor Nixon actually caught him and all that stuff. And, you know, I didn't even believe him at first until I started doing the investigation. And this guy would buy paintings. He would buy paintings or guitars with the money and everything else. He bought assets. So he didn't look like he had a ton. But at the tail end of it, if you walked into his house, he had a good $400,000 on his walls. He was set. But again, he was very, very good at conning people. He's very good at making people think. He had me thinking that Mayor Nixon was a sleazebag, you know?
Yeah.
But when I started actually doing the research and everything else for my own eyes, and I suggest anybody and everybody do their own research, you know, about anything and everything. The web is huge.
Yeah.
There's the black web too, but everybody just needs to open up their own eyes, not form an opinion by somebody else, what they're saying or what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to actually choose their own path and their own opinions on what they think, you know?
Yeah. And
that's where I decided I was going to go take Mayor Nixon's accounting class because I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was $350, 8-week crash course accounting for the store and everything. I've never been to college or nothing like that. You know, it was my first time. But I tripled my business with this class.
Really?
And there's a lot of things that I didn't know about. And I learned a lot of things about Mayor Nixon also. He was actually a pretty good guy. Owned his 3 accounting firms.
Wow.
You know? 2 in California, 1 here. And when he retired as our mayor, he just wanted to retire. He gave away his accounting firms too. He
Really?
literally just wanted to retire, but he gave them to his employees.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
He divided it up and gave it all to his employees. So, but that's typically what about the thing I want to do here is, you know, my daughter's a great asset. She is amazing for mornings. I just got Lewis and I got Michael at night now. I got a great crew here, and that's what I would love to do in the long run. Is when something happens, leave it to the people.
Yeah.
You know, leave it to the employees, because they've worked their butts off to get this shop here. It's not just me.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of weird seeing how nice people can be, seeing how generous people can be sometimes. But then you see those Richie Rich, that greed. Yeah. And I never wanted to be that. Me and my ex-manager had a conversation. He says, if you won the lotto, he says, you would buy a bigger house and all that stuff. I said, no. So I might open another store.
Yeah, there you go.
I said, but I'd still work, even if I hit the lotto.
Yeah.
I'd still work. I love my people. I love my customers. You know, I love my employees. And they do such a fine job to help everybody out. But I would not be here without them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a growing process. And again, like I say, you find out who your friends are in the long run. And you find out who the people just want something from you.
Yeah.
But I think I have a pretty good group of friends. And a pretty good group here at the store.
Yeah.
And if I went on vacation, I would trust them all.
That's awesome.
So
that's the best kind of people to have too. That's why, like, especially with me going into this business with podcasting and then also in MMA and the fighting industry, there's always going to be a lot of people there that's going to be there just to use you or just take advantage of you and everything. And that's why I'm just extremely adamant on the people that I bring into my circle, because I already got my own drama. I'm not trying to tear anybody else down or stir anything more or anything. All I care about is just, okay, how can I be a better version of myself? And how can I help the people around me become a better version of themselves as well? Because it's like everybody's already got so much stuff going on in their lives. Everybody already has to leap over so many obstacles and challenges, especially in the today's society that we have in America, not just on just a like societal social level, but on an economic level as well. There's just more hardships that we're having to face here in the US, and it'd be so much better if we're just able to come together, unite, and then just help each other grow. We don't need to keep tearing each other down. Help each other grow, and let's become a better version of ourselves.
Do you know what? I have a really, really good friend. His name's Scott Goslin.
Okay.
He works at the radio station at Murphy Broadcasting, and we've been with them for pretty much 12 years. My dad was with them for about 5 years before that on the radio. He really believed in the radio, the power of the wave. Everybody can hear the commercials and everything else and see what we got going on here. That's what Scott believes. Scott really, really, really has helped have ideas how to do it. The other day, he woke up, and his thing with this shop, for some god-awful reason, he wakes up at midnight and writes my ads.
Really? That's awesome.
He wrote this amazing Tom and Chong cheeseburger commercial for the store, and it still plays to this day.
Really?
Yeah. And then he did an acid store commercial for the acid cigars and all that stuff. You got acid, man.
That's awesome.
So it's really, really cool. But that's what his motto is he believes in growth. So what he did was he started a new sports segment on the radio and all that stuff. And I didn't even know about this. And he threw my commercials in there.
Hey.
Specifically my cigar commercials in there, and I didn't even know about that, and it boosted my store up about 15% in cigar sales.
Nice.
So I was looking over the numbers, and I'm like, what is wrong? What's going on? What am I doing here? Okay, do I have the right cigars? Where am I getting all these extra people and all that stuff? So I went in to record commercials, and he's like, how's that sports segment working? I said, what do you mean? And he played it for me. I said, you got to be kidding me. He's like, that's boosted me 15%. I've been trying for the last 2 weeks trying to figure out where it came from, how it came to be. So what do? I look at him and I'm like, how much is that sports segment? I want it every month. Because you put money right back into it. He took a chance with me. He could have taken a chance with anybody in this whole town.
Yeah.
Anybody. And he took a chance with me. And it paid off. But he also knows me. I'll give back to where what gives to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and that's exactly what I did. I just, like, how much did it cost? I'm like, all right, done.
Yeah.
So I bought that sports segment. It's like, you're in for life until you tell me to cancel it.
That's awesome. See, it's so great having people like that because you know that you have that trust that they're not going to do anything behind your back or stab you in the back or anything. And it's like you don't even have to ask for anything. They just, because you have such a great relationship with them, they just out of their own interest want to help and do what they can do to help, like boost your sales, boost the store's revenue, everything. And that's the best type of people to have around you, to be honest.
It is. And when people ask me, because they hear my radio ads all over the radio, heck, they still have they just bought 2 new Flagstaff stations and they put me up there in rotation just because they needed spots and all that stuff to fill. But everybody asked me, they're like, well, I hear how many times you play a day. He's like, how much does that cost you? I said, you wouldn't believe it. I pay my bill on the 1st of every month. And he said, and you know what that gets me? Anybody that doesn't pay their bill or any spot that they have to fill or any cancellation, I get thrown in there for free.
Hey, that's awesome.
So what do I have to say to all those people? Pay your bill on 1st of every month, and you know what? Good things will come to you.
Yeah.
That's it. Just be a good person. Good things will come to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe in karma and all that stuff, and I believe it comes around full. And trust me, it comes back to me too. Trust me, if I do something wrong, it hits me within 12 hours.
Yeah, that's how it is with me. If I do anything wrong, it comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance. So I'm like, okay, how can I stay on karma's good side?
Exactly. Just be good to people. That's it. And that's what I want for anybody and everybody. Just to be good to each other. If you see somebody on the side of the road struggling and all that stuff, pull over, see if they need help.
Yeah.
I saw 6 cars the other day on the side of the road because this RV had a flat tire. 6 cars stopped to help.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is. And you know what? When you see car accidents on here on 95, because it's, again, one way in and one way out of this town.
Yeah.
When you see car accidents and all that stuff, you really see a lot of people that get out and try to help. And that's good. I like to see the kindness in everybody.
Yeah. That's what it makes just life so much better. And then at least people that I talk to a lot, they just think that one small, like, micro interaction of goodness won't generalize or spread across the community. But it's like, no, it's like pay it forward. All it takes is just one spark to ignite that flame, to spread it across. Exactly.
I heard from a wise person. When you're driving down the road, going through the grocery store, seeing people, whatever, smile. It's contagious.
Yeah.
It is contagious. And then that person will go on to smile at somebody else, and it'll go on and on and on. But what's a smile cost you?
Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
It takes more muscles in your face to frown than it does to smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I believe in that, I believe in just being good to people.
Yeah.
And that's what I would like to do. That's why I like the store, That's why my friend Scott just redid a new commercial, and it was about inflation and on how I don't up my prices and everything else. It takes a lot for me to up my prices. Usually the vendors up them 3 times before I even up them once.
Wow.
Because I know how everybody is here. And that's why I love it. That's why I did the veterans discount also, because they're all on limited incomes. So I wanted something to help them out a little bit, So if I help one person out, I'm good.
Yeah.
But that's why we try to keep the lowest prices, because I've been at Sterilite. I've worked at Taco Bell. I've worked at these places in town here. I've been in town since 1997.
Okay. A year after I was born.
Wow, you make me feel old, Josh.
It's okay. You're looking good for your age. How old are you?
45. 45 in November.
You don't look a day over 34.
My mama taught me to tell women that they're only 29.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old they look. You still tell them they're 29.
Mm-hmm.
Makes them feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanted people in this town to actually be able to purchase things.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started our CBD and everything else and bringing it in here, I started it because my ex-wife had seizures.
Mm-hmm.
And for a whole year, she was having like 3 or 4 of them a day.
Oh.
And doctors weren't doing nothing. They couldn't figure it out. MRIs, CAT scans. She went, and again, she was a VA.
Wow.
So that was a battle and a half. But I was researching in the middle of the night, and I came across CBD. That was before they deemed it legal.
Mm-hmm.
So before our federal government decided to strike on it and say, "Oh, you guys can use that." Yeah, right. Tell us what we can and can't use, please.
Yeah.
So I started bringing it in the store and everything, and I had 2 brands. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And they helped her tremendously. She went down to literally 1 seizure a month.
Wow.
After we got her on this. So it was trial and error of which CBD she can take and which she can't. And in her body, she can't do anything with a little bit of THC. THC turns her into a seizure. So it was trial and error on what brand to get her and all that stuff. But I brought it into the store, and my manager at the time had his dad had cerebral palsy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was literally bedbound.
Oh.
He was in his last stages, and I know, but he would shake all the time, and he thought the CBD was just boo-boo juice. It wasn't even right. He's like, that's BS. This is a guy that's never smoked weed in his life.
Yeah.
Comes from Chicago. So I was like, all right. I said, okay, cool. So I sent him home with a bottle. He came back 5 days later and told me what a miracle thing it was, and he believed in it. Now he's running a dispensary, which is cool.
That's awesome.
So I started doing that. But my problem, Josh, was the cost. Everybody thought it was gold.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought it was gold, and they were treating it like it was. So a 500 milligrams was going for $60 to $80.
That's so expensive.
It is. So I decided, I was like, you know what? One of my buddies decided that he was thinking about starting his own lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Jason, you want to go in with me? I said, go in with you? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So we priced it out and everything else. And our goal was to make those $60 to $80 bottles look like chump change, because we wanted to do it at a cost that everybody in Havasu can relate to.
Yeah.
Everybody can buy it. The people are on the straight incomes, the people that are working at Taco Bell, Del Taco. I'm not going to say McDonald's because they get paid $15 an hour.
Yeah.
I don't even get that.
Yeah, I know. I don't even get that.
So I wanted something that just the normal average Joe that $75,000 a year can make. I wanted them. So we decided we'd come out with Zen Twan CBD.
Mm-hmm.
Patented. It was a year battle with make sure everything, our I's were dotted, our T's were crossed, make sure we even got a lawyer, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was costly, don't get me wrong. But when I figured out I can sell a 500 milligram bottle for $25 and a 300 pet milligram bottle for $20, that's a game changer right there.
Hell yeah.
So when a 12,000 milligram bottle only costs somebody $200, seriously? That's game change.
That is.
Because our top seller right now is our 3,000 milligram cream for $70. Again, 3,000. There's 1,000 milligrams companies out there that are charging 90 to 120 bucks for 1,000 milligrams, and we're charging 70 bucks for 3,000 milligram.
Damn.
In a 4-ounce bottle. 4-ounce bottle. So you know what? We came in to make it to where everybody realizes what they do and they drop prices. And you know how I do that? Because Creating Better Days calls me up and says, we saw your line. We just dropped their price. A corporation saw my line and dropped their price.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you know what? I'm in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the right direction because the people that are buying Creating Better Days, it's a great product still.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It's affordable to everybody now.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. These corporations are out to make the big bucks. I'm just a little mom and pop place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? But I want to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I want to make it a better place.
Yeah.
I want to make it to where things are back in the 60s and 70s again, because times back then were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Neighbors talked to each other. People talked to each other. And things were affordable. Shit, I think gas was 15 cents back then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's freaking insane.
But I wanted things to where, you know, things cost affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just got done. I'm telling you right now, I just got done buying 2 freaking cows in Texas.
Really?
2 cows got propositioned for me. Male and a female, and they keep on breeding. That's where we are in this world. That's where we are because meat is so expensive. Now we're finding any ways to save $1.
Yeah.
And how can I save $1? I buy cows.
Yeah.
I have a thing with a butcher in Texas. He takes half of it and I take half of it. Butcher don't cost me a dime.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you will find ways to save money, especially when we have 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 kids. My girlfriend has 2 and I have 2. So we find out ways to save money and everything else.
Yeah.
But I just want an affordable line, and I want people that can walk into the store and afford everything in here. So, and that's where we're going, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to keep on doing that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the store's about, kindness.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about when my dad was still alive, and I was working on Friday, Saturday. So, again, he has 1 leg, okay? Mm-hmm. So this story is really funny. So a Friday, I dropped him off at home.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's there to take care of him at night. I come to the store, and I close store up. I get here about 3 o'clock, and I close the store up about 9 o'clock, and I go home, and my dad's still awake. And he says, how much did we make? And at that time, $800 a day was good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said, I made $1,200. Mm-hmm. He called me every name in the book, and that man can curse. He was a sailor. He can curse. And he called me every name in the book and told me I was a complete liar. And I was like, all right. And I didn't have any proof, so I couldn't show him. No. So I'm like, I went outside, I smoked a cigarette, and I went in and went to bed and everything else. Woke up the next morning, and I had to work all day Saturday by myself, which was not bad. You know what? We opened at 8 a.m. We closed at 9. It's a 13-hour day, no problem. Mm-hmm. I did 5 days with my dad during the week, and I did the weekends. Mm-hmm. My only day off was Sunday. So I decided I'd bring home the report, so I can see he can see what we did. That day I did $1,400. And the way I did it was kindness. Mm-hmm. Kill them with kindness. Everybody walked in the door. I said hello to. Everybody walked out. I said, have a nice day. Mm-hmm. You know, that's all I did. Yeah. And that's what I did. And I made $1,400. That was the only difference between me and everybody else. So I went home and I didn't even show my dad. He says, what do we do? And I told him, I said, we did $1,400. He started throwing stuff at me and tried standing up on his 1 leg.
Oh, no.
I'm like, sit back down before you fall, dude.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, you stand up for me because you think I'm lying.
Here's the report.
I'm like, we need to put a wooden dowel down for you or something, man, so you don't fall. But he stood up, holding onto the couch and everything else, and calling me every name in the book and throwing stuff at me. And I was like, chill, chill, chill. I handed him the report. Came in the following Monday and came rolling in the wheelchair. Have both of the girls meet him here at 9 a.m. He looked at the girls and he says, apparently tits don't sell. My son does. You're both fired.
That's fucking awesome. I love it.
I was like, my dad, I'm telling you right now, he was a tit and ass man. He was a tit and ass man. He loved he would point stuff out. He was a rude, crude 70-year-old man. He's been around this world and he's from Chicago. That man has made millions of dollars. Don't get me wrong. He was in real estate. He made his first $1 million in Chicago.
Damn.
So he can be a millionaire and he's been a poor ass man. So for him to tell me that tits don't sell, my son does. You know what? Kindness sells.
Exactly.
Kindness sells. So that's why I started it. And when I started training employees and I started telling everybody, I'm like, say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to everybody. I said, it will get the returning people. I have one more motto too, and I told my employees, I say, you know what? I don't pay your paychecks. The customers do. And that's true because I can put as much money as I want into the store. I can buy all the products I want, but without the customers, we don't have anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And the employees, if they're rude to a customer, they lose a customer.
Yeah.
Well, that goes against them because that was their fault. They could have had a recurring customer. They could have had that money coming in, but they didn't. They said they didn't want to be rude. That's not our motto.
Yeah, exactly.
Our motto is to be kind.
Yeah. And plus having like what especially feeds into like a native aspect of things like that is also the relationship between the owner, the manager, and the employees. If the employees don't feel that same appreciation and value, then it's going to translate to the customers too, and then you're going to lose those people. But if you have an atmosphere where your employees genuinely feel like they belong, they're genuinely happy where they work, and they have that invested interest, it's going to translate into the customers and the sales and everything itself. And that's why, like with me, I use humor. I absolutely love using humor. I mess with guests at my work all the time. Crack jokes. I'll tell them, yeah, you want Dr. Pepper? Drop it, give me 20. Like straight up. I'll tell them, do some burpees, go do some suicides outside and everything. I'll even say, it's like, okay, you got to give me a $50 tip minimum. But it's just the humor. They love the humor, and it makes them feel at ease. Makes them feel like the ice is broken, that they're comfortable, and that they're going to have a good time because they know that I'm going to take care of them. And that's how, like, I've gotten like $100 tips, all kind of stuff, just solely because of how I carry myself and how I treat people. It's so much better just to be nice, to be fun, to have fun and everything.
I believe my employees have a contest, and it goes all the time. It's like who can get as many tips with kindness. And, you know, I've had some employees say, hey, I walked away with $50 one day, $50 in an 8-hour shift. And I'm like, seriously? I've had 2 employees at night do the contest, see how much they can get. Both of them got $45 a piece.
Nice.
$45 a piece. Yeah. That's just rocking it, you know? And that's all because they're kind, they're nice, they're helpful, and they treat the customers the way they want to be treated.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's all we want is work ethic and be nice to everybody.
Exactly.
I do have to give the be kind came from one of my employees, Victoria. She wanted to do one of my Facebook posts one day. I post Facebook every day, some quote or something like that. Now I have people that actually do it because I'm so busy. But she says she wanted to do it one day. And I said, okay, no problem. I handed her my laptop and I did it, and she ended it with be kind. We got over 1 million views on that post.
Damn.
I was like, oh, hell yeah. And it trended, but it was from one employee.
Wow.
Again, I give my employees the voice that they need to be heard. And, you know, they never underestimate me. I'm always proud of every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they try so hard to make every customer happy.
Yeah.
And that's what we got going on here. And that's why we are here 12 years. 12 years October 1st.
Damn,
It's
that's
going to be
awesome.
awesome. I'm extremely happy and everything else. I had an ex-employee told me that in 2012 that I would be shut down in 6 months. I took that as a challenge.
Exactly. It's like, hey, Ma, look at me now.
Exactly. And look at the numbers and everything else. Again, I take all kinds of input.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I go to trade shows, I have this radio commercial and saying, I'm going to trade shows. Please tell us what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott came up with this radio ad, and it says, we the people at the Kind Connection have a say.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
That is awesome.
Because every single one of my customers, again, if I don't carry what you want, just ask.
Mm-hmm.
We can get it for you. Or we'll try to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's really tough. With stuff not coming in, it is tough to fill our shelves.
Yeah.
And with the prices going up on everything, it's extremely tough to keep low prices, but we're trying.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get tougher and harder. But the people that are going to help you out is the mom and pop stores.
Mm-hmm.
All the one. And Havasu is so filled with mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Corporations, the ones we have is what? Lowe's, Home Depot, and Walmart.
Yeah. And those prices been shooting up.
Yeah. So those are your corporations and all that stuff. And they're on the outskirts of town.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love the fact that Havasu has still made it to where all family-owned businesses are here.
Mm-hmm.
No, we have, I think, 4 smoke shops in Havasu.
Yeah.
2 of them are pretty much vape shops. 2 of them are actually legitimate smoke shops, head shops. But they're all privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
They're all owned. One of them's owned by a guy in California, and he didn't like the fact that I brought in some stuff and cut his price in half. But again, I didn't like. Again, he was pricing stuff so high that
Yeah.
I was like, if customers really want it, I'll get it and I'll get it for cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm not all about having a mansion or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just want everybody to be able to afford everything.
Exactly. And I'd have to say, that's one of the good properties of capitalism that people tend to overlook, is that when corporations and like on a government level, they just don't have the same capacity to have that interpersonal relationship with the community and with the customers themselves, versus a mom and pop store where they can offer that balance. You give the cheaper rates on the supplies and everything, it's going to start feeding into the competition, and then they're going to have to start lowering their prices too just to compete, and that does nothing but positive outcome for the customers who, like with the CBD, instead of having to pay over $100 for a 3,000 or for 1,000 milligram, they could instead get a 3,000 milligram for $70 instead.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
And that's where we can do it, because we're little people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not buying thousands and thousands of pallets of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We go to these trade shows, like ASD. ASD this year got hit really, really hard. It's one of the biggest trade shows, and it's for a lot of gas stations, convenience stores, a lot of mom and pop places. And there is, I went to this, and I didn't get to do a quarter of it one year. Quarter of it.
Wow.
It is 4 different casinos. The MGM, it was the MGM, the Tuscany, and Bally's, and I think one year they even did Trump Tower.
Oh, wow.
But it takes 4 different casinos to host this thing, and it's
Wow.
huge. This year, 1 casino, because we don't have China.
Oh, okay.
China ain't coming over to participate in the ASD this year.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have any China places or anything like that. So we're getting back to America.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really do believe, and if you actually see it, the more you spend with American products, the cheaper it actually is.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to tell people, the more you buy, the cheaper it's going to get, because the more they're going to have to produce it.
Yeah.
At the beginning, everything's always high. Your initial product, you're putting out there high cost because of everything you had put into it.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at cars and everything else, the first year that they put out like Jeeps, they were ungodly $10,000, $20,000 back in the 50s, you know?
Yeah, which is expensive.
And look at it now. You can buy a Jeep for maybe $30,000 now, or even $20,000, because they mass produced it.
Yeah.
So they just want to get them off the market and everything else. They want people to buy it and all that stuff. But that's the same thing in the United States, and people don't understand is the more you buy American product, the cheaper it's going to get.
Yeah.
We are so used to buying China stuff, cheap stuff, right away and everything else, that we're still looking for that. I still have customers who come in, I need $30 water pipes. Well, we don't have those anymore. I try to. The more you buy American at $60, they'll go down to $30.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it a year. Keep on buying them at $60. They'll go down to $30 the following year. I guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the more you buy it, the more they're going to produce. The more they're going to have a job, more people they're going to hire. And the price is going to go cheaper because they want to put the quantity out there versus the price.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing that I love about America is just the ability for competition and how that could help benefit the consumer on not just a local level, but on a national level. Because, I mean, like when you're constantly buying stuff from overseas, there's going to be, like with China, for example, we buy stuff from China and everything comes at such a lower rate that all the mom and pop stores or any of the companies that's here in America, they can't compete with it. And they either have to cut cost by laying off employees, cut corners with their products or how they ship it out and everything. And then at some point, then they still have to raise the prices. But if you shop American made, then it's going to balance out on an economic level. The laws of supply and demand will meet it. It'll not only bring in more revenue for just the mom and pop stores and the people that are trying to make a name for themselves in this country, but it'll benefit everybody else and it'll trickle into everything else.
Look at that guy that was hosting the MMA that you videoed.
Oh, yeah.
That owner, he named off 4 different CBD companies, including one of his own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That is just absolutely amazing. Because you know what? That's what we're doing. He's taking his money from a CBD company, if I read it correctly, and he's putting it back into the MMA. He's not making a dime off of it from what I read. I looked him up. He's not making a dime off. He puts it right back into his MMA stuff that he's trying to get going and everything else. And I think that's awesome. That's why when you said you're trying to get an MMA fight in Havasu, I'll sponsor it. My CBD company will sponsor it. I got shirts already.
Yeah, there you go. You hear that?
So you guys, if you come out to Havasu and everything else, heck yeah, I'll sponsor you. I sponsored an MMA fight, a local fighter. His name was John Roloff.
I think I remember that name.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the scene for a while.
Oh,
Still
okay.
one of my best customers. But I sponsored him when he was in Havasu and he was doing it. I sponsored him because of the Kind Connection. I didn't have my CBD line at that time. But Kind Connection sponsored him and everything to get him in. It was only, I think, $450 to get him in there.
Yeah.
But it was a hell of a fight at the Kokomo's.
Oh, it happened at Kokomo's?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know how they did it. I didn't get to be there at that time. I had to close that night.
Oh, man.
But I heard John didn't win that night, but he got a good couple of blows in and all that stuff, and he broke the dude's ankle. So.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
And the dude came back. He broke his damn ankle. He came back with vengeance to John.
Damn.
Yeah, that was a hell of a fight. And that wasn't even the main event.
Wow.
So that's what I heard. But you know, CBD helps so many different people that I'd love to help those MMA fighters out there.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, my girlfriend's nephew, Tristan, fought, and 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. He's the first Lake Havasu City born world champion.
I know, and it's just crazy. He's been fighting and all that stuff, and if you actually watch his stories through all of his stuff, he's had a lot of cancellations.
Yeah.
So for this one to actually go through and for him win that was awesome and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's been training for a while, and it's nice to see that dedication and all that stuff. And again, family-owned places. Was at they own Bridge.
Yeah, Bridge City Combat.
Yeah, Bridge City Combat. Again, family-owned places and everything else. That's a good way if you actually want your kids to protect themselves from bullies and all that. So send them there and teach them the basics.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know what the classes are or whatever, but heck, if my kids didn't know how to fight or whatever, and I didn't teach them how to fight, and I have 2 girls, and they get mad. They go red.
Then you go running.
Exactly. I'm scared of my own kids. But yeah, so if I would send them there, because that's just something that is awesome and everything else.
Yeah.
Again, our town reminds us a lot of the 1950s. There was a lot of mom and pop places and zero corporations.
Yeah.
Back then. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's why too, it's like the biggest emphasis I've had here in Havasu is what more ways can we provide incentives for people who want to stay here, to open up more businesses here, to do things more, and to provide more opportunities, not just for the older generations, but the newer generations too. Provide more community-oriented things, provide more consumer investment in the businesses themselves, and really give the kids a voice especially.
You know, I tried putting a skating rink up in here at one time. I tried turning the old skating rink, which would have to be torn down. I went through the whole thing. That would have to be demolished and rebuilt.
Wow.
It was a lot of money, but I couldn't get the current owners to sell. They wanted a profit on it, and I was just trying to do a non-profit, and they thought I was trying to be sneaky, and I really wasn't. I was actually wanted hire high school kids and all that stuff for it and make it a non-profit.
Yeah.
Just something for the kids to do and all that stuff, but that deal fell through, which kind of sucks. But there was a couple of people that found Sarah Park's skate rink. And so a lot of people have been going down there. That's something that kids usually do not know about. Cools off during the night, grab some skates and go down there and go roller skating and all that stuff. Sometimes they actually have DJs down there that do it for free. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
But I would love to see more stuff for this town for kids.
Yeah.
One of my buddies did that VR lounge.
Oh, yeah.
He did it because he had a son and he wanted something for his son to do.
Yeah.
And he worked for a corporation. I'm not going to say who it was. I'll get shit for it. But he worked for a corporation, and you look at him. This is one of those things where you don't judge somebody by a book by its cover. He saved up a lot of money throughout the years, and he had a lot of investments that he cashed in on. But he started that VR lounge, and it's something for the kids. Just something to pay his bills and all that stuff. And something little. But he wanted to do something for the kids, and he started after his first son was born. And that was pretty cool. I wish there was more people out there like that. Yeah. But our town right now is the time to actually start small businesses. Yeah. Because if you look at our city council is made up of everybody with small businesses. So it's not just the people that are investors or just retired from here and want to make people's life miserable or anything like that. No, these people actually want to build this city. And they want to build it up more. And I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
City council has been saying yes to a lot of businesses. So I can't wait to see what else comes into town.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited. And that's why, especially too, of course, never any guarantees, CJ, no. But of course, it would be just absolutely amazing if it could actually be possible to have like an event out here or something, like a fight event, because I mean, we made it clear just these past couple weeks, like Havasu City, they have an invested interest. They have a huge following here for MMA, for all that, to support their local boys, Devin Ray, Brandon Elizondo, Trenton Byers, Patrick Boffman. They're all fighting out of here. They're all representing Lake Havasu, putting this place on the map. It's just the community investment, and that's why I've always been so interested in trying to get like some type of business or something happening here more, because I know the potential's here. We just gotta tap it and unlock it.
You bring the fight here, I guarantee you I can get a bunch of small businesses to support it.
Yeah, there we go.
I guarantee you I know a lot of people.
Yeah, hell
so
yeah.
I know a lot of business owners. So if you decided you wanted to do it, heck yeah, we'd support it.
Hell yeah.
It's something to go to. It's something to have fun. BJ has just got done with midget wrestling, man. Those things, that place is packed every time they do that, every year. They got it out here 1 year, and even the first year here, they fumbled it.
Mm-hmm.
They were still had the biggest crowd.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. But, you know, there's all the bars here, when they have MMA fighting, all the bars here get on it.
Yeah.
Even Legends paid the $20 to televise the Tristan Byers fight.
Yeah.
So, and that went until 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So yeah, even Legends is number one for MMA supporting.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. But all the bars usually televise it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they are usually all packed. So this is a huge MMA town.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and like Devin, he was telling me that they had like 3-4 bars packed to the T, max occupancy, just for the fights.
Dude, I had my house packed.
Yeah.
I had my house packed because I had it on the TV, and I kept on having to refresh it. But hey, we got it all the way to the end.
Nice.
So how was that after party though?
Bro, it was awesome. That cigar I bought from here, I saved it just for that occasion. Beautiful.
Psycho 7.
Beautiful.
7 different types of tobacco, dude.
Mm-hmm.
7 different types from 7 different farms.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually, if you want an unusual cigar, that is the one you get.
The psychedelic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Psycho 7 is
It has such
just
a nice taste.
And it changes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It changes throughout the whole thing, so you're never disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So the acids are really good too.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want cheap cigars, buy 3, get 1 free, our house cigars.
Yeah, that's what I did. I got one of the fruit berries. I got the psychedelic, the vanilla cream. I forget the 4th one. But then I still also bought an acid. Just because that first one that I tried, I forget, it started with a K. It was a K something acid.
Cuba.
Yeah. I tried that, and I was like, ooh, that hit the spot. Like, literally at the after party, I was just smoking that the entire night. We were all taking shots, drinking. There was actually a UFC fighter, Gustavo Lopez, that was at the after party.
Oh, nice.
And he and I took a shot together, and I'm just chilling there, smoking the cigar. It was badass.
Well, you know, because you're getting into this, you've been into this for so long, and you love the MMA, the excitement that sees on your face, because that's the whole reason why I got drawn into your podcast.
Yeah.
The excitement right after that you seen it when you were talking to Tristan and all that stuff, you were so dang excited, dude.
Yeah.
You're like, he won. But yeah, I have another one for you to try. I have a Tibet.
Ooh.
It's a coffee-infused, sweet-tasting Drew Estates cigar.
Ooh.
And it's made by Acid and Drew Estates, but it is absolutely amazing with the coffee infused. So you taste the coffee into it, but then you got a sweet little, like, sugary taste.
Ooh.
And it hides the tobacco flavoring in it. So if you like just the tobacco flavor, not the one for you. But if you like the sweetness of it and everything else and the smell of it, yep.
I'm going to have to try it then.
You know, I got a little piece of advice for you that my dad taught me. The longer the ashes, the cooler the cigar is. And the better it will taste.
You know what? That makes sense. Because I've bought cheap ones from like the gas station or like these other places, and there's just like no good quality to it, and then it just constantly kind of falls apart and everything. But when I get yours, especially the good ones, the ash, it'll go like this long, still won't break. It's so smooth. There's not that burnt taste or anything, and it's just like, yep, Yep.
This is
I'm getting it again.
Yeah, this was the humidors behind us, and it's all the cedars from Germany.
Oh, wow.
And my dad made sure this was built before he died. It literally got finished about 2 weeks before he passed.
Oh, wow.
He went to his last cigar thing, and he picked up the last cigars before he passed away. And when he came back, I showed him the humidor and everything else, and then I had to take him to the hospital because he had to get his other leg done up and everything else, and that's when he passed away. But the excitement I see in his face when this finished and everything else, this is the last dying wish. So, and to see his son run this place, he absolutely freaking was ecstatic. And to even see my daughter working here, his granddaughter, his pride and joy. I'm telling you, this guy waited to die to see his granddaughter. His granddaughter died, and 30 minutes later he passed away.
Oh,
His
wow.
granddaughter saw him, and 30 minutes later he passed away.
Oh, man.
He just was waiting for her, and it was his pride and joy. That was my firstborn.
Wow.
And to see her inside of here, a family-owned business, is absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
And she's learning cigars and all that stuff. But the one thing he left me was he left me his Rolodex for his cigars, who to buy from.
Oh.
And I still buy from those people. These guys are 80 years old that I buy from.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is absolutely insane. I still use his contacts and everything else 12 years later.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I still have some of the same vendors and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I wanted to touch on was I was talking to you before this podcast about the Cigar Aficionado book.
Yeah, I was going to have you elaborate more on that.
So what I think, when my dad taught me, he says, you can read it. He says, when you're doing a cigar, you pick out 6 or 7 cigars. Keep a journal. Write down which one you did and how it tastes. And then go to your friends and have your friends do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or take a cigar over and sit there and talk about it. I guarantee you that Cigar Aficionado is completely wrong between what you say and what your buddy says.
Really?
Because it's 5 guys. 5 guys. That's all this Cigar Aficionado is. 5 guys telling you which ones to buy. Do you trust those 5 guys? Or would you just rather try it out?
Yeah, I'd rather try it out myself.
I'd rather try it out too. If I get a new one and all that stuff, I definitely try them out in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten to ones where I'm on the $20 ones and I'm hooked. And it's like, this is getting expensive. But I still smoke them because I got to try everything in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cigar Aficionado is 5 guys that sit there and tell you what they like. Everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has different taste buds.
Yeah.
You ate something different this morning than I did. And that could be a factor on that too.
Yeah.
You drink something different. You're drinking a whiskey, I'm drinking a beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be different on the cigar also.
Yeah.
So the maker marks are made for when you drink whiskey. And there's a couple in there like the Tibecs. I see that those are coffee ones.
Yeah.
So a coffee beer or something like that.
Okay.
Or maybe an acid. Acid would be another beer. I don't drink beers, so those Mud Shark beers or whatever, the different tasting ones,
Mm-hmm.
I can see those going with those.
Oh, yeah.
But we have all kinds of different cigars in there. But I made a contract with my house cigars, and I signed that 10 years ago, and it still holds up to this day.
Wow.
Even with the cigar prices, they called me up. They're like, can we raise this? I'm like, no, we have a contract for 15 years, dude. I made sure because I want to give my customers the best price.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuck my neck out there and I asked. There's nothing wrong with asking.
Mm-hmm.
Worst somebody can say is no.
Yeah, exactly.
So why not stick your neck out there and ask?
Mm-hmm.
So, I stuck my neck out there and I signed a 15-year contract between us and our lawyers, and they can't raise the price on me. Even though their price went up, they can't raise the price on me.
Nice.
And so, therefore, I keep the price. Buy 3, get 1 free. Where are you going to get $807 after tax for 4 cigars?
Yeah.
4 good cigars. You can either have flavors or you can have regular. We got the Maduros in there. We got the Connecticut's in there. The dual wraps are really awesome.
I'm gonna have to try those.
Those are Connecticut filled with a Connecticut Maduro wrapper. So every now and then you get a little tinge of a harshness, which is absolutely wonderful when you get that. And then it goes away and it goes back to Connecticut.
That's pretty cool.
So it's really one of the good cigars out there, and it's not that bad at all.
Yeah.
Again, like the Psycho Scavenger Estates, those 7 different types of tobacco. The Psychos for $2.50, those are amazing also.
Mm-hmm.
I got guys that come in here, mostly all golfers,
Mm-hmm.
and they drive in with Lamborghinis. They drive in here with Ferraris. They drive in here with Corvettes. And I take pictures of them all. I had one guy come in here with literally a $500,000 truck.
Wow.
Just lifted. You would have any stairs to get into it. It was huge. He used a tire to get up onto there. And I was like, you crazy, dude. I would never lift my truck that high. But he's from California. This is the first stop that they make.
Yay, that's awesome.
And I absolutely love it. My dad picked this place out. And, and he says, if you buy it, they will come. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So, I definitely, I'm glad that you came out. I'm glad I met you, actually. My daughter hooked us up. She says, Dad, this guy's doing a podcast, and he was in here telling me about it. My daughter, Allie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's really cool and everything else. But I'm glad we did this because, again, first one. I've been trying podcasts. You know what? I probably have 50 reels of just me doing stuff, and I'm afraid to actually publish them.
I know. That's how I am. That's why I usually don't do episodes by myself because I'm like, I'm going to have so many gaffes. My speech impediment is going to come out. I'm probably going to say something really stupid. But no, that's why I like having guests on too because it makes it so much more fluid and so much more fun to kind of bounce off somebody else.
Well, you have somebody to have a conversation with, I followed this one guy out of, he owned a CB company up in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And his podcast was sponsored by a CBD company. And I was following him and all that stuff. And that's what led me into wanting to do a podcast because I wanted people to be out there and know the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Know the truth about whatever I say. You know what? If you don't like me, scroll on.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah, exactly.
The censorship is real. And I try not to say something that'll get you censored or get you kicked off of YouTube. I won't go into my conspiracy theorists. That's probably about my 50 of them.
No, you're good.
And I think everybody in town figured that out because I used to talk to everybody. I got like 5 other conspiracy theorists in town that come in and talk to me about everything that's going on.
Yeah. And that's why too I do the intro. Like I'm not an expert in any of the crap I talk about, so take the shit I say with a grain of salt. Because it's true, I'm not an expert. I just do a lot of reading. I read textbooks. I read stuff on history, philosophy, politics. Like the first textbook that I read was Advanced American Government.
Nice.
That's why I feel a bit more confident to have conversations on politics and whatnot. But I still, at the end of the day, like I have 2 goals in life. One is to learn everything. That's never achievable, but that's the point. I'm always going to be hungry. I'm always going to be motivated. I'm always going to have incentive to keep pushing forward. And then my second thing is I'm going to change the world. And mark my words, I'll make that happen.
I'll be right along there with you, right beside you.
Yeah.
Because we're going to change the world one day or another.
Exactly.
So I have probably about 15 books on my next to my recliner. And I sit there and I'll scroll through some social media site, whatever, and I'll hear some guy talk about a book or whatever, and it'll spark my interest and all that stuff. I'll get on Amazon and I order it.
Yeah.
But I got like 15 different books all the way from history to politics, to Don't Cut the Indian Down. That one I just got. That's about way back in the day when the Pilgrims came over and started taking the Indians' land and all that stuff. Yeah. It's actually written by this guy that he found his grandfather's diary.
Oh, wow.
His grandfather was one of the Pilgrims. It's his great-great-great-grandfather.
Wow.
But he found the diary in one of his old 1920 house in the wall.
Holy hell.
You never know what you're going to find when you remodel.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
back then, in the day, man, I was finding out that they were putting papers and all that kind of stuff in there.
Hmm.
They were putting newspapers and all that stuff into those walls for insulation because they didn't have insulation.
Wow.
So you never know what you're gonna find or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty cool. So I'm excited about reading that book and all that stuff because again, I'm all about the truth.
Hmm.
Because growing up, I was one of those kids that they teased. They told me I couldn't read and all that kind of stuff, and told me I had to go to the resource classes and all that stuff. So I never took history until sixth grade. But my stepfather, as a truck driver, stopped at one of the first pilots in California
Hmm.
to fill up his rig. And he saw this history book that goes all the way back to 1910. That's when it
Nice.
starts, and it ended up, I think we were somewhere in 84, 85 at the time. So I read that book, but that book tells a lot about the truth, about who died, what
Yeah.
happened, and all that stuff. It's not in our kids' textbook anymore.
Yeah.
So what is going on? My daughter's taking she took a summer history class, just like my oldest. She wants to graduate early.
Hmm.
And so she's in another history class right now online. And I started to read some of the stuff, and man, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Where did they twist that one to? Who wrote this stuff? I'm questioning everything because, again, I read that one book from front to back,
Yeah.
and none of this is all twisted.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are they teaching our kids?
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I don't just read books from this time. I have books from the 1900s, from the 1800s. I have books dating all the way back to ancient Greece. I have Utopia by Sir Thomas More. I have The Republic by Plato. I have stuff by Socrates. I was going to mention too, a good book I would recommend for you is Special Ethics by Joseph P. Sullivan. And he actually quotes Pope Francis II back in 1927, something along the lines of that world peace is a matter of human faith. So long as we are trapped with the lazy assumption that man is man and war will always be, then it will always exist. But if we're able to instill the concept and the belief of world peace, of love and harmony into the masses, then world peace is possible.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That
My
is
favorite ones.
deep.
Right?
I believe, I really, really believe, and I will never lose hope that we will have peace on earth at one time.
Hmm.
It will happen. And I believe that everybody will work in harmony.
Yeah.
We'll work together. I grew up in California. I don't believe in any racism and anything like that. I grew up on a street where when the lights went on, you came in. Their dinner was ready on the table, and your mom says, all right, go clean up. You had school clothes and you had play clothes. You
Yeah.
had school shoes and play shoes. And then every kid on the block played football regardless. There was no. There was no, you're not doing it. And back in the day, there was no bullying. There was no bullying back in the 70s and 80s. I moved to moved from Highland, California,
Hmm.
where there is anybody and everybody that wants to live there. Okay. You have Japanese, Chinese, blacks, Mexicans. You have them all there, and we all got along.
Yeah.
Okay, we all got along. So then we moved to this what's called Calamasa, Yucaipa, in the middle of Booneyville, because my parents wanted to buy this big old house for, again, their blended family, just like I did. Back up. I'm following my parents' footsteps. But it was a bunch of white people when I moved there. It was farmland, and literally behind us was a cattle farm. We lived on an acre of land, but behind us was all fencing, cattle, and all that stuff. But then as people moved in, I noticed that the racism and all that stuff picked up with the families that had been living there and raised there. Not like by me or my brothers. We got along with anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
And we started questioning things. The biggest thing was I got into the middle of when it was Rodney King fights, the riots and all that stuff. Our school battled that. I was in middle school, and we had one black family, and half the school was whites, half the school was Mexicans. And they all met on the football field. And I walked out on the football field and I'm like, seriously? What are you guys fighting about? What are you guys fighting about? It's a parents' fight, not ours.
Mm-hmm.
It's a parents' fight, not ours. What are you going to do with this one? It was just a black kid. It was a brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you guys going to do? What? I'm like, what is this going to accomplish?
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. It's going to accomplish absolutely nothing. And I wish back then it would have stayed the way we had it.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really, because I do believe that racism is taught.
Yep.
We're not born with it. We all bleed red.
Mm-hmm.
And I have another motto: never judge a book by its cover.
Yep.
Because you never know what that person has gone through.
Exactly.
I've seen some of the people that come in here into my store with the scraggliest clothes and all that stuff, but they own their own businesses.
Yeah.
And they have money and they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
It's just by their clothes. What were they doing? Oh, they were remodeling their house that day.
Yeah.
And they decided that they need to come in and get smokes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish everybody would learn from that.
Yeah, exactly. Because like people, like when people hear about the stuff like I've been through, and like I've had people straight up tell me like I live a privileged life compared to like a third world country where they have virtually nothing. Yes, I would say I have like privilege in a sense that I'm not living on the streets or I'm not like counting the pennies on a day-to-day basis. But I come from just kind of everything. I came from the streets, from the white trash county, as I like to crack the joke and everything. But all of my closest friends that are like family to me growing up are Hispanic and black. And like my own family and my friends have dealt with abuse, alcoholism, drug abuse. Like I lost my sister, my dad, my aunt to drugs. I've lost so many of my friends. I've had to personally stop suicides from happening. Like that's the stuff that I've been through. And when people try to tell me that I don't know what it's like to go through hardship, I'm like, okay, hear my story and then change your mind. And that's why I don't care what color skin you are. I don't care where you come from. If you're really anything, it doesn't bother me. What means the most to me is respect and loyalty. Exactly. I will treat you the way I want to be treated, and I will treat you with respect.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I did. And some people don't know this. A lot of people do. I'm very open about my drug use back in my day.
Mm-hmm.
I started when I was 10 years old, and I quit when I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I was in California. I was in New Caipa, Mesa, and that methamphetamine was really big back then.
Yeah.
And I got hooked on it and everything else. Nobody knew. I was a hyperactive kid anyway, so I hid it very well. But what made me wake up was I moved from Southern California to Northern California. My real father moved in with him and all that stuff because my mom found out about my drug use.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you need to quit. Your dad got clean and all that stuff. You need to go up there and he needs to help you. Well, what my mom didn't know was my dad's been trying to get me clean ever since I was 16 years old. Wow. He was taking me NA meetings when he lived in Southern California and all that stuff. My mom never knew about him. I hid it very well. I hid my drug use very well.
Yeah.
My dad was one of my best friends. And so my mom shipped me up there to stay with him and all that stuff. And I got clean for a year. And then I met a girl and I doubled back into it.
Mm.
But the thing was, I woke up one morning and I flushed about $450 worth of drugs down the toilet. And I said, I'm done. And I believe that's what the person's got to do is they've got to wake up on their own.
Yeah.
But to come from there and to come into owning your store and everything else, yeah, my dad and mom started it and everything else. I finished it. I retired her. And to come to this and everything else, it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
You got blessings every single day. And I see the drug use, and I see the drug use in this town, and I love to help people, and I try to help people. Mm-hmm. And that's where I brought in Kratom. So there was this mom that came in here. Her son was 16 years old, and this is how bad heroin was in this town about 2 years ago. Wow. The 16-year-old kid came in with the shakes because he didn't have any heroin.
Oh.
16 years old, dude.
Wow.
And he was shooting up. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So we know Kratom helps.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him a couple of pills and all that stuff. His mom came back and said his shakes stopped, his pain stopped. He was able to get 5 hours sleep. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
But those are things that, the FDA and our government is trying to ban. Stuff that wants to help and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is do your research, because you'll find out that we've known about Kratom since 1840
Wow.
in the United States. The government told the professor up in Michigan in 1901 that they found opioids, stopped doing the research on Kratom. So you're going to supply the United States with opioids and get everybody addicted. But Kratom, that's an all-natural thing that is never addictive.
Wow.
Yeah. And that helps people. Helps people get off of drugs, help people get off of morphine,
Mm-hmm.
helps people get off Vicodins, Percocets, and all that stuff.
Wow.
But it helps people with pain and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to stop it. That's the stuff that we're fighting for. Us small businesses are fighting for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because we want to help people and make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one day at a time.
Exactly.
So, but when people come in here, and I can usually tell that they've been on or off drugs,
Mm-hmm.
or they're still currently on drugs, and I try to help them. I even if I say I'm just here if you need me, that's it.
Yeah.
That has helped one person. The lady calls me up. She says those words stuck in my head. She says I need help. I said let's go to a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove up to her and picked her up and took her to a meeting.
That's awesome.
So, but if you want to, we'll have to do another podcast about drugs, because I have a whole spindle on that. I have a bunch of research.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole hour topic by itself.
Yeah, I know.
About the beginning of it, where it came from, and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I would love to get the shit off the street.
Yeah.
And again, drugs aren't racist either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a choice. And the people have got to choose to not take them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're everywhere and anywhere. And then that new shit that's coming across the border, man. Did you hear about the fentanyl?
Yeah. My God, the fentanyl.
A 14-year-old kid touched it. Never even done drugs or nothing like that. Picked it up off the playground. Died of a fentanyl overdose.
God, that's so horrible. And I remember a couple of years ago, there was a story when fentanyl was especially getting like really bad. There was this kid that was in a hotel room with like 2 or 3 other guys, and he had taken just a tiny bit, and he ended up overdosing on the bed. And the other guys started panicking, freaking out, because they're like, "Oh no, we want to help him, but we also don't want to go to jail." But they still end up calling the cops. And then because they did the Good Samaritan thing to get the boy the help, I think the boy did manage to survive. He still has some damage that he's suffering from. I could be wrong on that, but he managed to survive. And those other kids didn't get in trouble because they decided to do the right thing.
The doctors on the 14-year-old kid that picked up off the playground said he died of a drug overdose. And the mother says, "How is that possible?" She says, "My kid's never done anything."
Mm-hmm.
She says, "My kid is a great kid, straight A student. He was on student council. He was on members of clubs and everything else. How can he do that?"
Mm-hmm.
So she went digging through his room. She didn't find a thing. But that's what's coming off to our border.
Yeah.
And we got to stop that. So guess what Doug Ducey did, which I'm very proud of him, but it took him long enough.
Mm.
Did you see the shipping containers on the border now?
I think so. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, he finally finished closing off that gap with shipping containers.
Nice.
And barbed wire up top and everything else, so that fentanyl wouldn't come across the Yuma border.
Good.
Finally. What did that take? That took us, 2 years
Yeah.
of the other administration being in office right now? Yeah, that should have been done a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Again, we need to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have a problem with people coming over to the United States legally,
Mm-hmm.
doing it the way it should be done.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe in. Yes, there is a process for everything. There's a law for everything. But that law is there for you to obey. And that law, one is, I do believe there's laws that are questionable,
Mm-hmm.
and you should question them.
Yeah.
But there's laws out there for a good reason, you know? And I believe in following the laws. Like here, you would not believe this. This place right here is strict by the books.
Yeah.
And we make a ton of money in here because of the employees and all that stuff. But they're strict by the books. And when my accountant looked at it, because I had to switch accounts, my other accountant retired,
Mm-hmm.
she says, I've never seen this dude. She says, how are you making any money doing this? She's like, I have 4 other smoke shops that I represent.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, and they're not. They're not by the books. She's like, and you are. I said, it's hi, how are you? And bye, have a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all it is. That's what it is. So I just love kindness.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to keep doing what my dad did and what he started and all that stuff. I support my mom. My mom just got done having another knee surgery and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I told my mom, I said, I'll take care of you if you retire.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, all right, I trust you, Jason. I'm like, all right, let's not screw this up.
Exactly.
So most people don't understand is a business owner usually has about 7 or 10 families that they're looking after.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the employees, the investors and all that stuff, the owners.
Mm-hmm.
But you got so much stress on you.
Yeah.
And you have so much stuff that you have to look at every day. Most of the time, you see business owners, they don't sleep. They don't sleep at night. I think I got 4 hours sleep last night.
Oh man.
I could not fall asleep. I kept on thinking about things and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was this podcast. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? And you know, and this is my normal. You get me normal.
Yeah.
I bounce around all over in all topics depending on who I talk to.
Oh yeah, that's how I am too.
And I love talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in customer service ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I started at Target. Go figure. I've owned my own construction companies before in Northern California. I flipped houses and all that. That was a little bit of fun. So, but I've owned different businesses and I absolutely love it. The last one I did was the Lifeline button. I fall and I can't get up. I merged with Philips Lifeline.
Oh wow.
So that was really freaking cool. That was a neat experience.
Yeah.
I've been in the medical field and all that stuff. Just converting and seeing people. But that makes you humble, man. Yeah. I'm telling you, I walked into so many people because it was in Colorado. I went to all 4 corners. Now, this is the second time I've lived there. The first time I drove trucks for pellet windows and doors. Yeah, I'm a jack of all trades. CDL and everything.
Nice.
But I went into people, and this one lady really, really touched my heart. And still, 12 years later, to this day, I still remember her. She has MS. And so I had to put the pill reminder in her because, again, she has MS and dementia.
Oh.
So she forgets. So she has to have the pill reminder when he takes her pills.
Yeah. She's
sometimes in a wheelchair and sometimes walks. But this lady, once a week, will drive up to Glenwood Springs, right below Aspen, and they have, right by the river, they have a walking trail. And she gets in her wheelchair, and she does it all the way down, and then she walks her wheelchair back up. Every day, just so she knows if she can walk that day or not.
Wow.
So once a week, she gets up and she can see if she can walk. But she's the most humble lady on the face of the planet. She lives in a 1-bedroom place. Everybody ditched her. Her kids ditched her.
Oh,
Nobody
man.
wanted to deal with her MS. And she does it all by herself. She does it all by herself.
Wow.
And just to know that she can walk, she does it once a week. Goes up to Aspen, wheelchair down, and walks back up. And I did that. That's a hard walk up. It's all uphill, but it's a pretty view with that river rolling down. That's where they do the rapids and everything else. They do the white water rafting going down. Okay. So it's really cool. And the freeway's right there, and it's a super beautiful view.
Yeah.
The lady is just so humble. She's so kind. And with all of her things going on right now, she had never told me one thing about her MS. Wow. I read it all. She never ever said, I have MS. Oh, I have this. Oh, I have this. Oh, I want sympathy. Oh, I want pity. No. She's like, how are you doing? How's your day going? I'm having a shitty day today, but it's okay. And she was just carrying on a conversation with me about the business she owns. And it just shocked me. It shocked me with somebody with that many medical issues, with nobody to help her. And she's still as humble as can be.
That's awesome.
And it made me realize that I walked into every single one of them, and it changed my life because it made me humble. And that's where the be kind came from. And that's where saying hi as you walk in and hi as you walk out. I have everything in my life I have brought into the store. Every aspect. My drug use, my businesses. I've worked for Walmart, Kmart, Target, all of them. I've wrapped every good thing I can think of about every company I've worked for or I've had, and I wrapped it into this one.
That's awesome.
So, and I just hope that it keeps on going down. Right now, I keep on living it. My dad passed away, so it's one more generation. And then I hope my daughter will take it on. So let's see where that goes. I told her the other day, I said, you don't have to do this. I said, you have a choice. I said, this is my thing. I said, if you want to do it, that's fine. I said, but I'm not going to pressure you. I don't want you. My youngest wants to be a lawyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wants to go to Stanford. She's already emailed them. Oh, damn. And she's in 9th grade. Well, now she's in 10th. She emailed them when she was in 8th grade. She emailed Stanford saying, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm like, prepare for the worst. I'm like, you are going to have so many hours of work and homework and everything else. Yeah. You're going to be crazy. But do you know what I did not know about Stanford?
What?
And I really, it actually made me second guess them. One of my kids' friends, her mom's white and her dad's Asian. I've never asked him where he's from or anything like that, so I really don't know. He could be Vietnam, he could be Japanese. I'm not sure. I'm not about anything like that. I can't tell where he is by his look on his face or whatever, and I've never asked him. He's one of my best friends. He's really funny. He owns Studio 108 here in town, nail salon. And you walk in and you feel like your family. Yeah. And I love that atmosphere. So I keep on going. I don't care what the price is. I get my kids' nails done there because of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because they're really down to earth, good people, just like here. But the mom told me that her daughter can't go there because she's Asian.
What?
I never knew that.
Wow.
It made me second guess it. And it's making my daughter second guess it too. Because she doesn't want to be in a school like that. So I'm going to have to do a little more research on that one to see if that's actually true or not. Because I haven't done any research on it yet. We just found out last week.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. I thought every college, any kid can get in. Any smart person can get in, or anybody with money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know those rich out there, they fight. They pay off, they buy buildings and all that stuff so their kids can go to school and all that stuff. I think these should all be scholarships. Yeah. I think it all should be going off their grades and everything else.
Exactly.
So, but that's my own opinion and everything else because my daughter's worked really, really hard. And my oldest has worked really hard. She's about to go to MCC. She has went and applied for classes yesterday.
That's awesome.
I'm proud of her.
That's awesome.
So, proud of my kids. I love them. They're my world. So all of them. I got another. My stepdaughter works at Walmart, and so she comes in and tells me, "Ed, do you know where I met my ex-wife? Walmart." I'm dead serious. We had the joke when we were married that we should have got married at Walmart. But when it was Hobby Lobby, that's where we met. And so my stepdaughter works out there and all that stuff. And I'm like, is it still drama? She's like, sometimes, some people.
Yeah.
I'm like, it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It was drama when I went there. It was drama when I worked there. And I worked there for 89 days. 89th day, they freaking let me go.
Oh, wow.
I was there for the reconversion of it to expand it and everything else. That was it.
Oh, okay.
At the end of it, they let me go and everything else. But yeah, you know, I take everything that I learned and I apply it to his life. And I think everybody should.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
No matter what, if you hit drama, if you're gonna have a fight with somebody, you know, I look in the mirror and I'm like, all right, what really happened? Did we have an argument? Okay, was I right? Was I wrong? Don't get me wrong, I question my own self.
Yeah, that's what I do all the time.
And I'm like, all right, so I wasn't the right. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But I take every aspect and I bring it to the table of our life, you know? And I love having different people, like you have podcasts and everything else. My other buddy has a VR lounge and all that stuff, and with advertising. Got another buddy that works at the radio station. The different conversations that you have throughout the days with friends is just crazy.
Yeah.
And to put them all on your podcast is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. That's why I love it. That's why I love the idea of it.
Yep.
Change. Oh. Looks like it changed a bit. I think it's still there. Oh no, it ended.
It ended. Where did it end?
Let me see. It ended way over there. Okay, let me see if I can start it back up again.
You saw, does your camera audio into it?
Oh no, looks like I can still translate the audio from that. No problem. It may be a little scratchy, but no worries. I figured too we should probably wrap it up.
Yep.
It'd be almost 2 hours.
Oh shoot. Yeah, we should wrap it up and everything else.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
Yeah,
I love doing this stuff.
Yeah, this is awesome, man.
Heck yeah. It's my dream in your reality. Because again, I tried starting it and I couldn't do it. So yeah, we'll wrap it up and we'll get it going and we'll do it again.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I like our podcast we do. It really good.
Let's do it.
I guess conspiracy theorists. So
yeah, let's do it.
Add that to the beginning of your channel.
Yeah, exactly.
In case it is a conspiracy theorist, listen at your own discretion. I am nowhere near a fact or anything else. I do my own research.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, thank you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It was great having you on.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I appreciate it. We'll do an MMA thing and politics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I like talking about anything and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love it. And thank you guys so much for watching. This is Josh Said What, the podcast that will change the world. And hey, we'll see you in the next one.
All right, be kind.